What's up, guys? Welcome to Life Knowledge. My name is Justin Alphabet. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe down below. Stay to the end of the video so you get all the information that you need. Today we're going to be talking about cheating. Okay, guys, so I have noticed more and more that cheating is becoming a topic of relationships in modern times. Cheating is becoming more prevalent, it seems, and it's an interesting topic to talk about. And I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of cheating. And you might be here because you want to know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, or if you should do it, or if you should stop, or something like that. So I'm going to give you all kinds of tips and tricks and ideas and thoughts on cheating. So first off, with cheating is when, you have a partner, you have someone who you have a commitment to, and you go beyond that commitment or break that commitment, or you basically go without the bounds or boundaries of the set boundaries, right? You break the rules, essentially. And typically, people do this because it kind of, gives you a little bit of a high or something like that. Like when you break the rules, it can be exciting, it can be fun. But when you break the rules, sometimes there's no going back. And I heard this story once about this place in Australia, right? In Australia, there's beautiful beaches on a lot of the coast, and they have, beautiful water and surfing. And there was this guy who was going to surf, and he saw this local, there, and the local guy was basically like an older man, and this older man, he asked this older man where he should go, and he said, "Don't go past those rocks right over there. Stay on this side." He's like, "But the waves are way better on the other side of those rocks. Why shouldn't I go out there?" And he said, "Don't go past those rocks over there." And so the man stayed within, this boundary within these rocks. And he was surfing on the, smaller waves for a little while, and he realized, he was having a good time and stuff. And he looked, and he saw some people that were going past the waves. Someone went past those rocks to the bigger waves, right? And they went past the point where that older man had told them. And basically what happened is they were surfing these amazingly big waves, and it was so great. And then they got attacked by sharks. Because what, the people didn't see that the local had seen and knew about was that the old man knew that at that point of those rocks, there was a net that went all the way down to the ocean floor to protect the bay from sharks. But the other people didn't care. They went past the boundary. They went past the line. They thought that they'd be fine on the other side of the net. They thought that they'd be fine, but they got attacked by sharks. And so the point of the story here is that, like, rules are meant to protect us. Boundaries are meant to protect us from, negativity and bad things, and protect other people as well. Because if you think about it, the guy on the inside, he has a family. The people, all those people have a family. Everybody has a mom. Everybody has a dad. Everybody has people who cares about them. Everybody has at least one person who cares about them and loves them. And, with that means, you got to think about people other than yourself sometimes, right? So going beyond the boundaries, going beyond, the commitment or the boundaries or the rules can hurt yourself, and it can hurt other people. And that's why set boundaries and rules are, established, especially in committed relationships. However, there are, open relationships, there's polyamory, there's polygamous relationships, which in those relationships, the people have communicated about it, right? Like the difference between, a cheating and, an open relationship or something like that is the fact that you communicate about it. I personally don't believe in cheating because I think it's wrong. But I also know that there are people who have multiple spouses. I also know that men and women think about intimacy and sexuality a little bit different. For women, they're typically more emotional, and they use the right side of their brain more for like emotion. And with men, we typically are more logical, and we are more left brain usually, so we use logic. And so with, women, if you emotionally attach yourself to a lot of different people, it can ruin yourself. Like, it can hurt your ability to stay in a committed relationship. And there's been studies that have been done on this, and 70% of women who, file for divorce have had 10 or more sexual partners. And that can, if you have, about 10 or around 10 partners who are in, sexual partners, it can damage your chances of having a long-term committed relationship, essentially, as a woman. So it's better to have fewer sexual partners as a woman. However, as a man, it's not the same. The same numbers are not reported. A man can have as many sexual partners as he wants, essentially, before he, and still have a committed relationship after, because they think about sex in a more logical way. It's not, like an emotional bonding, like tying yourself to someone with a rope, essentially. And, different people have different levels of this, and there's obviously a varied spectrum, and this is very stereotypical. Like, stereotypically men are more logical. Stereotypically women are more emotional. So it's not the same for everyone, obviously. And but healed men and healed women don't need that, essentially. If there's necessity, like if you think about kings of old, like from the Bible, there was King Solomon, and he had like 400 wives or something like that, right? As a man of power, he was trying to expand his power. A king is always trying to expand his network, his influence, and build himself up, obviously. And it's not really a question of morality. Like, obviously, God is not a question in that, because I think that in the Bible, somehow God, approved that or whatever. Like, that's not what we're talking about here. But specifically as a king, it's your job to increase your power and your influence and your sphere, right? If you think about that, the more women that you have, the more children you have. And the more children that you have, the more, power you have and influence over, a variety of areas. But not everyone is capable of being a king. Not everyone is capable of handling that. And not everyone, should be that way. Some men are meant to spread their seed. Some men are not, and they shouldn't. And so if you're a powerful man, if you're a capable man, if you're, a man of kingly status, you're an actual powerful person, and you have respect of other people, it's more acceptable, because as you have more power and you have more influence, it's more acceptable. And in the animal kingdom, it's kind of the same. If you think about a pride of lions, obviously one male lion has multiple female partners, right? And the men have to fight for the female partners, and they grow their family, they grow through many different partners, right? And that's how, some things work. In modern society, women aren't as accepting of that today. They don't want to share their partner. They want to be exclusive. And, that's how modern times and modern things are, right? The difference in that is that they're not lying, right? The difference between a cheating man and a polyamorous man or a powerful king is that the king, everyone knows, he has multiple concubines, multiple wives, multiple women that he's with, right? They all are accepting of it, they all know it, and they all are on board with it. They want that, and they're okay with it, right? Maybe some more than others, maybe, there's things that, but it's accepted. It is understood, and it is communicated, right? But with cheating, it is a lie. Cheating is a lie. You're going behind the back of your person. You're going behind the back of your significant other. You are betraying the boundary and the trust of another person, which ultimately reflects back on you. It shows what kind of person you are. And unfortunately, the sad thing is that you have to live with yourself. You have to live with yourself for the rest of your life, right? You are the only person that's going to make it to the end of your life. Everyone else in your life is going to either die, move on, grow apart or whatever. You will grow apart from friends. You'll grow apart from family. You'll grow apart from everyone. But the only person that you take all the way to the end of your life is you. And so you have to live with yourself, right? So 2 things I want you to do. 1, if you have cheated or you're a cheater, forgive yourself. Let go of that. It's okay that you did it in the past, but it's not okay if you do it in the future, right? Decide that you're going to change. If you're addicted to it or whatever, just start to communicate instead. And find people who are polyamorous. Find people who want to be in that kind of situation, that they want to, do that kind of stuff. On the flip side, there's also the second thing you can do is put in the work to not do that, right? So you've forgiven yourself and then also put in the work. Most of the work is just going to be communication, right? You might have to see a therapist and communicate to them, your feelings, and they can help walk you through this kind of stuff and help you figure out why you feel like you want to cheat or whatever. And if you're a chronic cheater, they can help you work through that, right? If you're not, and if you just, have cheated like once or twice, or you don't want to cheat or whatever, make a commitment now that you're not going to cross that boundary because the shark's on the other side. If you think about the sharks, there's, AIDS, chlamydia, STDs of all kinds that you could get from, multiple sexual partners. And on top of that, there's also, pregnancy. If you do or don't want to have a child, there's those risks as well. If you do want to have children, that's great. But also think about the money involved with that. It costs about $18,000 to raise a child from, and probably more than that. But to have a birth, sometimes of a child, it sometimes costs around $18,000 to just have a kid. Then you have 18 years plus after that, and sometimes beyond if they're, a incapable adult. So there's a lot of risk factors involved that you have to think about that most people don't think about. And also you have the risk of losing the people that you've lied to as well. If you lie and you hurt the people that you've made a commitment to, they have the choice to walk away. They have the ability to walk away and leave you forever, even though you may love that person. And so it's better to communicate to that person that you love them and you want to see other people as well, if you want to be polyamorous or things like that, or things of that nature, because it's better to always communicate and make sure that people are understanding and on board and everyone's on the same page. Because when you hurt somebody, you're not always certain on what they're going to do next. Sometimes, people get desperate and angry and upset and hurt and things like that, and they'll walk away. So cheating is obviously not the way to go. On top of that, if you're a man, it means you're a coward. It means that you can't even communicate that you want to see other people. It means that you can't face your partner and tell them, hey, I want to go see other people, or various things. So be a man, have the balls to communicate, and just communicate it. It's not that difficult. It's cowardly to hide. It's cowardly to lie. And it's not a likable trait. A woman will be much more accepting of you if you can communicate your feelings and your wants and your desires, versus if you lie to her, if you, hurt her or do things that, you have said you would not do. So communicate those things, talk about it. Say, like, this is what I want to do. This is where I'm going. This is what we need to do as a couple, or, we need to break apart or whatever it might be. Just don't cheat. There's so many different alternatives. Because ultimately, like I said, you have to live with you in the end. So don't cheat. Because when you cheat yourself. You darken and dampen your own soul. you make yourself weaker. You make yourself a lesser man or lesser woman. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, comment them below. Thank you for staying to the end of the video, and I hope you have the day you deserve. Let's level up.